couple of other stories this morning that have made the newspapers today. And it's actually a connection that's never really been made. But, of course, we're hearing these awful revelations coming out about Mohammed Al Fayed, all of these accusers coming forward saying these absolutely awful behaviours from this man. And now Paul Burrell has popped back up again. Sun on Sunday... Notice that he keeps popping up, old Paul Burrell. Sun on Sunday, it's their side heading on their front page today. Sex predator Mohammed Fayed made an indecent proposal to Princess Diana. According to Paul Burrell, her former butler, apparently he suggested that he would one day sleep with her, and shocked Diana felt sick and was really upset at the proposal made to her in 1995. I mean, the problem with this story, I mean, not that we are in any way suggesting that Mohammed Al Fayed is not someone who has turned out to be absolutely awful, but we've no way of really verifying whether that actually happened, have we?
Yes, and Peter Burrell is a rent-a-quote on anything. So, I mean, and claims obviously to have had the ultimate inside track on Princess Diana's life and has been living off it forever since. However, there's no two ways about it that Mohammed Al Fayed did try and push Dodi into a relationship with Diana. He loved the focus of attention that this inevitably brought. And obviously we saw that, you know, that weekend they were in Paris. But there was no way that the Princess Diana was going to marry Dodi Fayed. But it was all part of Mohammed Al Fayed trying to having a degree of respectability. And you remember when he died that, of course, we then saw the shrine to Dodi and Diana in Harrods. It was all pretty unedifying. Look, he's clearly shown to be a despicable character by these allegations. And yes, but he didn't have a very good relationship, I'm told, with his son Dodi, yet here he is. He was pushing it to try and make Dodi feel important. So, yes, there may have been something, but with Peter Burrell leading the quotes, I always put in inverted commas, because if you need someone to come up with a quote about anything to do with Diana, you just give a call into Peter Burrell.
Yeah, just to correct Paul Burrell, remember, just to correct
Paul Burrell, yeah.
But, I mean, the thing is, he has come up with some direct quotes, which, I mean, you knew Diana, didn't you? You'd met her a few times, so I don't know whether you can... It does sound quite Diana-esque when you know that she had a little bit of a sting in her tail sometimes. Apparently, he said to her, "I want you to marry my son because in Egyptian tradition, the father goes first. I'm going to sleep with you." And apparently she had a nickname for him. She called him Yoda from Star Wars, God because of his ego, and creepy and slimy. She complained he's always putting his hands on me, and he goes on to say, "I was in the car when she came running out from his office shaking and told me," and these are her exact words, that he said, "I want you to marry my son because in Egyptian tradition the father goes first." And then apparently she said, "Can you imagine making love to Yoda? I was disgusted by his behaviour." I mean, Diana did have little nicknames for people, didn't she? And so that does give it an air of truth.
Well, I'm sure because they went on holiday, there may easily be nicknames. But to the extent of this story, I don't know. Looks, they went on holiday. We don't know what went on, because she was happy to go on his boat in the south of France. So all these things suggest that they got on well enough. But where it was going to lead eventually, I'm not sure. And one of the things that I'm pretty sure it wasn't going to lead into a permanent relationship. That just was not going to happen. But Paul Burrell, yes, I mean, it's very colourful descriptions of what may or may not have been going on. But yes, she had a cheeky way with her, and she knew she certainly liked to rock the boat. And this was a way with someone who was a little anti-establishment. Given that the Mohammed Al Fayed sort of profile, for her to be seen going out was clearly not what probably the rest of the royal family wanted to happen at all. So, you know, a man who ran Harrods, sort of a glorified shopkeeper, I think they often referred to him as. So, you know, in many ways, it just it adds a little flavour to what is a horrible story. There's no two ways about it. What Mohammed Al Fayed did and throughout his life, it was all about trying to sort of make him seem more important in the eyes of the British establishment. He definitely wanted to curry favour, and his son dating the Princess of Wales, as was then, was clearly something that he relished.
Also, we've heard regarding the late Queen Elizabeth, it was the King, Charles, who said yesterday in a speech in Holyrood, marking the 25th anniversary of the Scottish Parliament, he spoke of Scotland's uniquely special place in the hearts of my family, suggesting that his mother decided it would be where her life would end. She especially treasured the time spent at Balmoral, and it was there, in the most beloved of places, where she chose to spend her final days. Now, we've heard before how the late Queen Elizabeth, had concerns about the logistics of what would happen if she died in Balmoral. Perhaps those concerns were expressed because actually Queen Elizabeth all along had wanted to spend her final days there and wanted to make sure that that would be okay.
Well, yes, and we heard Anne quoted as saying that the Queen didn't want to be a burden, but in many ways the family said, yes, you should there. This is your happy place. And she was incredibly happy there. And actually, the King making these statements yesterday to the Scottish Parliament reflects the strong affection that the royal family have for all things Scottish. And one of the great defining memories of the drive back when from Balmoral to Edinburgh was that avenue of tractors, horses. It was actually became one of the great symbolic moments of the period of mourning. The people of Scotland out, those farmers cleaning their tractors overnight to provide a guard of honour as the cortege went through was one of the great emotional scenes. And I think she was happy there. And that's why she was able to, she did her last bit of work 2 days before she died, saying farewell to Boris and hello to Liz Truss. And then sadly, she died 2 days later, but she was happy there. We saw pictures with many member grandchildren and great grandchildren. It was where she loved to be. And the King is the same. He's no different. He loves being in Scotland, as he has proved. Obviously he's been up there for some time. Dumfries House, something that he's passionate about. All things Scottish resonate with the royal family. And for the late Queen, it was without question her very happy place. And that's why the family did their best to not feel any guilt about her final resting place being in Scotland, where she died, and obviously surrounded by everything that she truly loved.
Rupert Bell, thanks so much. That's Talk's royal commentator with the Royal Roundup.